All right, welcome back to another episode of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Daily Walk Edition. This is episode number 42, and it is New Year's Eve. And first and foremost, before I get into today's topic, it's going to be a multi-topic. I want to wish each and every one of you a very happy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And I also want to say that, hey, please be safe tonight. Please do not drink and drive. You know, if you drink responsibly. My best advice to you folks is to stay in. There are a lot of crazy people on New Year's Eve and even New Year's Day. Stay in or stay as close to home as possible so you don't have to drive. If you can avoid going on freeways tonight, avoid that. You just never know. You know, some people out there, they think if they have one or two, they're okay. And it all depends on what they drink, whether it's a shot or whether it's a beer or whatever. But even if you drink at all, if you even have one little sip of alcohol, which I know really won't do anything, it's just not worth it, folks. It's not worth it to put yourself at risk and to put others at risk. So please be considerate to others and be considerate to yourself. Don't put yourself in any situation where you can do harm upon yourself or harm upon others. All right? I want to make that very, very clear here to start off this video here today. Now, let me just come over here because I want to not interrupt anybody. There's somebody walking their dog on the other side over there. So, before I get to the topic here, I also want to mention that a few hours or so after I release this video will be released in the afternoon. I'm assuming around, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, or a little bit, before that. I record my videos and then I, stay at the park for another 45 minutes to an hour to do an extra 2 or 3 miles for my walk. So this video, like I said, should be released around 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on New Year's Eve, or maybe a little before that. But after that, a few hours after that, I'm going to be, releasing. I'll be recording it after I record this. I'll be releasing a very special response video to someone that has been a YouTube content creator for quite some time. And I'm not going to mention who it is. You're going to have to stick around to find out who it is, but you're going to be very surprised on who I do this response video on and what it's going to be about. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave you folks in suspense. And just stick around because you're going to just have to stick around. I'm kind of like in a different mood today. I've had some things that I've experienced very recently that have kind of thrown me off a little bit. And that's part of what this topic is here today. So please forgive me again today if I sound a little all over the place. It's just been a very interesting year, and to end up the year the way it's ending up for me is a little less than favorable, but hey, it is what it is. You gotta, when you take a licking, you gotta keep on ticking. So with that being said, let's get to the topic of today's Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Daily Walk Edition, episode number 42. I believe it's 42. I think I got that right. And that is, well, let me make sure that there's no car coming here, because there's a recycle truck, blocking my view. I don't want to be hit on New Year's Eve, even during the day before people start drinking. Oh boy. The topic is dealing with a sudden death of a friend or family member. Also, why do men detach emotionally? And I'm going to wrap it up by talking about, my 2019 New Year's resolutions or New Year resolutions. So one more time, the topic of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, the Daily Walk Edition, episode number 42, is dealing with the sudden loss of a friend or family member. Why do men detach emotionally? And we'll wrap it up with my 2019 New Year resolutions. All right, shortly after I recorded my video yesterday, which was an in-studio video, I didn't get a chance to come out to the park. I got some information from my brother. He reached out to me and made me aware that a longtime friend of ours that was a roommate of his for a while passed away. And it was quite a shocker, but at the same time, I wasn't surprised one bit. And I'll share a little bit about why I wasn't surprised one bit in a second here. And that's also why, part of this video is, why do men detach emotionally? This is going to be part of the reason why I feel men detach emotionally and, why I detach emotionally from certain things. And hopefully it'll make sense to you guys out there, and even some of you ladies out there that are wondering, why are men so emotionally closed off? It's not that we're emotionally closed off. It's the fact that certain things really aren't worth for us to, get into it emotionally, which really, really drains a man. And men just don't want to feel that draining type of feeling. We want to feel happy. We want to feel good all day. We don't want to let any type of negative emotion bring us down. Now, good emotion is great. Okay? Good emotion is great. But we're talking about negative emotion. Okay? So, this guy that died yesterday, I've known him for quite some time. And so has my brother. My brother, who's about 15 months younger than me, we met this guy about 25 to 27 years ago. In our younger days, our, late teens, early 20s. And, he was 51 when he passed away. I'm 45, so, he's 6 years older than me. But he always looked much older than his age. He always has been anywhere from 70 to 100 pounds overweight. And he's always eaten the shittiest, unhealthiest foods. He was a longtime smoker, cigarettes and pot, weed, even before it was legalized here for recreational use in California. Okay. And just didn't take care of himself. He didn't like to go out much. He was like a hermit. He liked to stay at home and put his feet up on his recliner and just watch TV. And I remember in my younger days, when I was going through some shit after a breakup in my younger days, in my early 20s, for a period of a couple years or so, I used to go and spend a lot of time at the place he was living at during that time. This was probably about 25 years ago, and I had known him for probably a couple years. Okay, so we spent a couple years together, hanging out as friends. We even took a trip to what do you call it? Vegas for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Had a good time out there. And then we even went to Yosemite together. on that same trip, and I did enjoy his company. But I realized after a couple of years that it just became more and more difficult to get this guy to do things. And I realized that, back in those days, I was smoking, every day. Many people weren't aware of that. Many people know that, I was an occasional smoker, a very occasional smoker up until last year when my ex found out about, me even occasionally smoking, and then I permanently quit. I needed to quit regardless, don't get me wrong. But back in those days, okay, because of an ex-girlfriend and because this guy used to smoke, I was smoking regularly. So hanging around this guy, I was starting to rot myself. I was starting to eat shitty foods. I was smoking regularly. And, I picked up a lot of his bad habits to the point of where I started gaining some weight. And I didn't really like the person I was becoming. So what did I do? I withdrew from that friendship and I stopped hanging out with him. And this guy started getting upset because he's like, "Oh, you ditched me. You ditched me." Okay. And it wasn't the fact that I ditched him. The truth of the matter was I just didn't want to be around somebody like that didn't take care of himself, that was rotting, that was basically killing himself and starting to kill himself 25 years ago before he passed away yesterday. Okay? This is what you get here with Coach Eli. You get the real raw stories. No one shares stories like Coach Eli. You guys out there, some of you guys and gals out there may not really like my message or believe in me or think I'm qualified to do this shit. But you know what? You're not going to get stories like this anywhere else. Nowhere else. Okay? So 25 years ago, I was hanging out with this guy for a couple of years. And then a few years after that, I just started to realize that I was starting to rot and go downhill with this guy. And it was just not somebody I wanted to be around. Not because I didn't like the guy or didn't think he was a good guy. He just wasn't taking care of himself. He didn't love himself. He didn't care. He didn't take care of himself. And I didn't want to continue to go down, or I didn't want to go down the same path he was going down because I was already starting to head towards that path. And that's not who I was or who I've ever been. I've always been about being fit, healthy, and happy and being outgoing and not rotting and sitting at home all day. I love going out. I love being around people. I just love doing things. Okay? So again, I started to see this guy doing things to himself that were pretty much killing himself even 23 to 25 years ago. Okay? He also had type 2 diabetes. But he never tried to lose weight. He never cared about the fact that he was 70 to 100 pounds overweight for the most part since, he was around and since I knew him and my brother and I knew him. He just kind of said, okay, I'm fat and that's just the way I am. And it is what it is. Okay. Now, let's fast forward to yesterday. Okay, December 30th, 2018. Okay, what ended up happening? Story I heard from my brother, who has been living with this guy for, I think they've been living together for at least 4 or 5 years now, maybe a little bit more. Okay. He was on his way to work. The guy was working at Best Buy. I think he was like a technology specialist, and he was really good at that stuff, just like myself. That's one thing that him and I had in common even back in those days, is that we knew a lot about electronics and technology and loved a lot of those things. So he ended up, going to work. And my brother, when I talked to my brother on the phone yesterday, my brother told me that he saw him walk to his car in the driveway, and he was walking like very slowly and just, hesitating, and he could just tell that something just wasn't right. So he ends up driving to work, goes to work, and I think an hour or two after he got to work, he collapsed. He fell down, he collapsed, and he was unresponsive, non-responsive. And another friend of my brother's and mine, he's more so a friend of my brother's. This is another guy that works at the same Best Buy. And this guy is also overweight, doesn't take care of himself, and if he doesn't change his diet or do something, he's probably going to be the next one to go. No disrespect, I'm just being honest here. He reached out to my brother and told him what happened and asked my brother if he has, this guy's emergency contact information. My brother had all that. My brother, knew this guy's family and his mother. And, again, that's basically what happened. I'm sorry I'm a little all over the place right now because, it does hit me, even though I'll explain, why it has not affected me as emotionally as you would probably expect it to affect me in just a second here, because that's part of this video. But yeah, I talked to my brother on the phone. My brother is 15 months younger than me. My brother was fucking bawling, fucking crying. And my brother's a strong man, but for some reason, like, my brother's always been extremely emotional and just can't contain his emotions in regards to certain things. And now I know he was a lot closer to this guy than myself, so I can understand that. He also tried to help this guy over the years, better himself, become more healthy, because my brother knew that this guy was heading down, a death wish. I can't even talk. This guy was heading down, a death road, and he had a death wish. So, anyway, that's pretty much what happened. When I talked to my brother on the phone, I was strong. I felt bad. I gave my condolences. And my brother was, kind of asking, man, doesn't this suck? Doesn't it hurt? I said, dude, you know what? It hurts. And I'm not going to sit here and cry, and I'll tell you why, because I feel bad for the guy. He did this to himself. And this is where I lead into the second part of this video. Why do men close off emotionally? It's not that we want to. It's just that sometimes it's just not worth investing emotion or negative emotion into something that's going to drain us for no reason. And here, I don't want to sound like a dick here, but here's the thing. For the last 25 plus years, I've known this guy, and he hasn't changed one bit. He hasn't changed his diet to try to lose weight, to, take care of his diabetes. He didn't stop smoking. He didn't stop eating fast food, shitty food. Okay? He continued to do the things that were killing him. Even after I tried to talk with him, my brother tried to talk with him, what happened yesterday was inevitable to happen. So it's almost like to the point of where, like, when I withdrew from the friendship like 23 years ago or so, okay, I also withdrew all emotion to it. I withdrew any emotional attachment to our friendship because I just didn't want to be around someone that was killing themselves. I didn't want to be around someone that didn't love themselves, didn't take care of themselves, didn't respect themselves. It's just hard to be around that. So now that he passes away, I feel bad, and my condolences go out to his family and his friends and even my brother and everybody, right, that was affected by this. And I do feel bad about what happened. but I'm not crying. I'm not bawling. And, I'm not letting this affect me emotionally because of the fact that this guy practically killed himself over the course of time. And nothing I could do or say to try to help him would work. He wouldn't listen. When you have friends that truly care about you and respect and value what you say, they're going to take you seriously. This guy didn't take me seriously. He just kind of brushed it off. So, now he's gone, and pardon the wind noise. It's very windy here at the park. It's been very windy lately. And I know this windscreen, for the most part, does a decent job where you can still hear me, but sometimes you can hear my voice and the wind. So pardon me. It's not me breathing heavily into the mic, okay? I might take a breath every now and then because I am walking as I'm talking. But anyway, like I said, okay, the emotional attachment to my friendship with him was not there. I took it away 23 years ago because I didn't want to be a part of him killing himself. Even though it was going to be a slow and painful death, as it was, for the last 23 years of his life once I left our friendship 23 years ago. But again, my brother still remained friends with him. My brother even allowed him to, rent a place with him. And my brother didn't even charge him a lot of rent. My brother paid the majority of the rent because this guy wasn't making a lot of money. For a long time, this guy, when he lost his job many, many years ago, he had a decent job. He lost his job. He was on unemployment. And back in those days, because of what Obama did, I believe you could renew your unemployment up to like 2 or 3 times. Like he maxed it out for a 3-year period. And then he had a 401k and just didn't work for many, 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 many years. And it got to the point of where he was about to run out of money, and he was already living with my brother with very reduced rent. I mean, his rent, I think, was like $500 or $600 a month. And in the San Francisco Bay Area, fucking A, you can't even get a quarter of a shack for $500 a month to rent. So my brother tried to help him out. My brother tried to do all this stuff to help him out. And no matter what anyone did for this guy, he just didn't seem to get the hint. He didn't love himself. He didn't care about himself. He just rotted. I just don't get it. I'm happy about one thing. At least he didn't commit suicide. So at least he didn't hate himself enough to want to end his life through suicide. But he paid the ultimate price. Now, I don't know exactly what he died of, but I'm assuming he had a heart attack or heart failure or something. But why did that happen? He was very overweight. Probably had high cholesterol. Okay. He was smoking. I don't think he really, drank a lot of alcohol. Every now and then he would. If he was a drinker as well, he would have probably died sooner. He just did not respect his body. He didn't respect himself. And I'm saddened by his loss, but I'm not going to sit here and cry over it or, feel shitty over it because he did this to himself. Okay. He did this to himself. It's hard for me to respect and mourn over the loss of someone when they practically killed themselves after you tried to help them all of these years. So, that was a story. And I don't want to sound like a dick. How long have we gone for so far? We've gone for 24 minutes. That was the story of what happened yesterday. And yesterday I went on another walk with this chick I've been hanging out with, my platonic hiking, walking partner, hangout partner, whatever you want to call her. No disrespect, she's a really cool person. And she even sensed me, being off. So I talked with her about it, and she totally understands where I'm coming from. I don't want you folks to sit here and think that I just don't care about people that die. I do. I care about people in general. But the bottom line is that, look, if someone dies unexpectedly and they did the best to take care of themselves, okay, and they weren't basically killing themselves with the things they're doing, if someone dies legitimately, in my opinion, I'm not saying that his death was not legitimate, but the bottom line is, if someone dies in a car accident or in other ways that are just freak, okay, I feel more pain for that than someone that dies because they were rotting and not taking care of their body, and they died because of health reasons that were well within their control, but they chose to not, take control of themselves and their lives to live a healthier life so they can actually live longer than the age of 51, which is very, very young, a very young age to die, especially in today's day and age of modern medicine and all that stuff that we have. Okay? I mean, this guy prematurely died at least 25 to 30 years, maybe 35 years younger than he should have. So, enough of that. Let me just kind of wrap up once again with the, second part of this topic here. Why do men detach emotionally? Well, like I mentioned, as part of this example of my our friend passing away yesterday. Okay. And in my opinion, as a man, there are some things worth getting emotional over, and there are some things that just aren't worth it. Because here's the thing, if men could help it, in my opinion, they would not want to, have to deal with any negative emotion at all. Because what happens when a man deals with negative emotion? Let's say, for example, I had a good night's sleep the night before. I was tired the night before, so I went to bed early, got 8 hours of sleep. I woke up the next morning with 8 hours of sleep, and I feel nice and fresh and ready to start my day. I feel fully supercharged. And then the first hour of my day, I get a phone call. Let's say I'm dating somebody, I get a phone call from a nagging girlfriend, and she starts bitching, whining, and complaining at me, and then I feed into it, and I start getting emotionally charged and all that. And I start arguing her emotionally. This is just for example purposes. That conversation right there, okay, would drain me so much emotionally, which would also drain me physically. When you feed into something emotionally, like a negative emotional charge, when you feed into that, it also drains you physically to the point of where you feel more tired, after getting 8 hours of sleep than you did before you went to bed the night before. That's what negative emotional stuff will do to a man. It will basically drain your energy to a level where you feel more tired, even if you just got up having 8 hours of sleep and you feel refreshed. If someone puts you in that position the very first hour of your day after 8 hours of sleep, you're going to feel more drained and tired than you did the previous night before you got your 8 hours of sleep. So that's why a lot of guys, in my opinion, like to try to contain their emotions and not, really, try to deal with, that many negative emotions if they don't have to. Now, in some cases, you can't help it. If somebody passes away or something, you're going to feel that, especially if the death was something really unexpected, like a car accident or something that happened in a freak way. I'm not trying to take anything away from the death of our friend yesterday, but that wasn't a freak accident. It happened unexpectedly, but we know why it happened. We all knew at some point it was going to happen because of the way that he was, you know, treating himself and not taking care of himself over a long period of time. Okay? Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from that. I'm just saying there's a difference between somebody dying in a car accident and then somebody dying because, they've been overweight for 20 years and they haven't been taking care of their health for 20 years. At some point it's going to catch up to them, which it did. Okay? So there's a difference there. So, to you ladies out there that feel a lot of men close off emotionally on purpose, that is definitely not the case. It's not that we don't want to open up emotionally. It's that we would rather open up emotionally about positive things than negative things. But many of the things that are thrown our way as men are negative. And because we have so many other things to focus on, like our work, our mission, our purpose, and like I said, that's primarily our work that, allows us to provide for our own lifestyle, to make money. We need to focus on that. And if we're dealing with negative emotion all the time, it's going to affect us from performing, our job or our purpose to provide for ourselves, and then eventually it will affect us and bring us down. We don't want that to happen. So many times it appears like, men are suppressing their emotions for the wrong reasons. No, we're not. We just don't want anything to get in the way of our success in what makes us a man. Okay, now, does that mean we should not open up emotionally to our significant others that we're dating? Okay, no, we should be open emotionally. But we need to pick and choose our battles wisely. Okay, and for me, when it comes to dealing with negative emotions, I will tackle those immediately. And even though I have fed into the negative emotion in the past, and I've more so made it worse in the past than better, I've learned the proper way to handle those negative emotions, whether it's with a significant other or whatever the situation may be, is say, hey, you know what? I don't like how this is feeling. I don't want to participate with this or in this or through this or whatever. It's just too negative. I'm going to give you two options. You either change your attitude right now, or I'm going to walk away. That may also mean walking away from a relationship, walking away from a friendship, whatever. I just do not want to be around any negativity. But if I sense negativity coming from a significant other or a friend or something, I will first give them the opportunity to cut it out and change that and get them to understand how it's making me feel. And if after a few attempts they don't want to, change it and stop it and knock it off, so that way it doesn't bring us down anymore, I will just walk away. Then you leave me with no choice but to walk away. I don't want to walk away, but I would rather walk away than feed into negative emotions that are not only going to make you more upset than you already are. On the flip side, it's going to drain me, and make me feel more drained physically than I did the previous night before I went to bed. And that's the reason why, when it comes to men, appearing to be closed off emotionally, it's not that we want to be closed off emotionally. It's the fact that we just don't want to let it drain all of our energy that we need to accomplish whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish on that particular day, which is primarily our job that pays our bills and is our bread and butter. Hopefully that makes sense there. So enough of that. All right, one final part here before I wrap up this video. How far are we? We are at, 34 minutes? I can't even see. Yeah, 34 minutes. Had to take off the shades for a second because could not see the screen. I was also in a dark part, I guess near an overhang. All right, so a little more wind here, pardon me there. 2019 New Year resolutions. So what are my 2019 New Year resolutions? My first New Year's resolution is going to be, you know what, I'm going to try to make amends with as many people as possible. It doesn't matter who you are, okay? Whether you've been a past part of my life, in real life, or on YouTube, or wherever, okay? I want to try to make amends with you and at least, be able to get along in a civil way, okay? I also want to put it out there that I hold no resentment towards anyone in my past, regardless of how it affected me. Because I'll tell you why. I have learned from each and every experience in my life, no matter what happened. Like I mentioned in the past, a few relationships ago, even when the veterinarian I was dating cheated on me, I learned a lot from her. I don't hold any resentment towards her either. I don't condone what she did, I never will. But I can let it go and move on and say, hey, I still learned something from her. I've learned something from every single experience in my life. And that's why one of my resolutions is going to be to try to make amends with anyone that's willing to make amends with me, no matter who you are. Even if you were my worst enemy out on YouTube or in real life, or we've had a falling out in some way, shape, or form, my door is open. Okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it up to you to reach out to me if you see this video. If I somehow come across you, I will do my best to try to patch things up. But all I'm saying is that my intentions in my head and heart is to try to be good to everyone, no matter what's happened. I want to be the better person. I want to set the example. This damn Recology truck, it's our recycling company out here. It's just been coming up and down this block, and it's just so fucking loud. It's a diesel truck, obviously. Okay? So that's one of my New Year's resolutions. Now, is it going to be possible to, resolve issues with everyone? No. Because I can only control how I feel about things. I can't control how other people feel about me. All I'm saying is that I'm open to it. I'm open to giving anybody a second chance or even a third chance. Okay? I have it in my heart to be a person that has a forgiving nature. Okay? That's just the way that I am. If you don't like that about me, okay, no worries. If you're the kind of person that, you give somebody one chance, and even if they try to make it up to you and try to be a better person and try to refriend you, you don't give them a second chance, then that's just who you are. I can't control how you are or who you are, but I can definitely control who I am and how I am. And that's how I choose to be. And maybe that's, one of the reasons why my coaching methods don't work with many people is because of the fact that I have a fucking forgiving nature. Maybe I try to be too much like Jesus was, who forgave everybody. But that's just who I am. I can't change who I am. That's who I want to be. And that's who I will always be. Has it made me come off a little naive, vulnerable, and gullible in the past at times? Sure. But I've definitely learned how to handle that better and how to make better decisions. But at the end of the day, what the fuck? That truck is coming back again. God damn, that truck is beginning to really fucking piss me off. It's just too loud. Again, that's just who I am. I have a forgiving heart and a forgiving nature. And if you want to say that I'm naive, vulnerable, and gullible for that, and I give people too many chances, That's totally up to you. You live your life the way you want to live your life. I'll live my life the way I want to live my life. But I'll tell you what, you know what? This world would be a much better place if more and more people out there had a forgiving nature. So that's one of my New Year's resolutions. Number 2 is to continue on this six-pack journey of mine. To update you folks on my weight loss, I've been doing quite well. Obviously, I look decent, if you can see me. Okay, I think you can see me right there. Okay, I haven't gained any weight or anything. I've gained muscle, and so I think right now I'm about 165, 166 pounds, right around there. I gained 3 or 4 pounds because I was at 162, but I gained 3 or 4 pounds of muscle. I've been doing some lifting. I've been doing more strenuous hiking, and let me tell you, hiking is a great way to build some muscle because you use muscles that you typically don't use, through other activities. So, especially when you do a really strenuous and challenging hike with rolling hills, going over rocks, going over streams, etc. And that's what I've been doing, again, lately with my activity partner. So, another one of my goals in 2019, one of my resolutions is to finally get that six-pack. And I'm getting closer and closer, but I didn't realize how difficult it is. It takes many, many months, maybe even 6 months to a year to get a six-pack. Even if you're already fit, you got to lose that body fat and you got to build a lot of muscle, which takes a lot of time to do. It takes a lot of fucking time to do. So that's something else that I'm focused on. Let's see here. What's another New Year's resolution? Okay, that I want to do here. I really can't think of anything else. I mean, I pretty much have taken care of, most of my bad habits. Since my last relationship, when my ex found out that I occasionally smoked one cigarette each month or every 2 months, I totally cut that out. So, that is already done. Had she not found out about it, I would have made that my resolution. But, I'm kind of glad I don't have to make it a resolution because, I no longer even have one cigarette occasionally. And that's a good thing because let me tell you something, it is very hazardous to your health. I know there are a lot of people out there that do smoke, and it helps them feel better. It also curbs their hunger so they don't gain weight. Let me tell you, there's a lot of, even though there's a lot of negativity when it comes to smoking. I mean, there's a lot of health issues when it comes to smoking. It does have a few benefits. It does curb your hunger, okay, and it does relieve your stress. It's the nicotine. It's addicting, I'll tell you. But the bad outweighs the good. It's just not worth it because down the road you may end up getting lung cancer or have some other issues with your system, and then you're going to die younger. It's just not worth it. So, I'm really, to be honest with you, I'm really glad that my ex found that pack of cigarettes in my trunk earlier on at the beginning of this year while I was still with her. I thank you for that. That was an awesome thing. Even though it may not seem like the right thing to do to go snooping around someone's trunk, I'm very thankful and grateful for that. I guess one more New Year's resolution, and that's where I'm going to start ending this video as I walk back to my car to drop off my selfie stick. Let me see, where are we at? We are at, 44 minutes? I'm the type of guy that's always had the outlook of wanting world peace and wanting everyone to get along, regardless if you're male or female, gay, straight, lesbian, bi, trans, regardless of your ethnicity, your age, your sexual orientation. I've always been the type of person that wishes everyone could just get along. It doesn't mean that we have to all be best friends and hang around all the time, but just be civil and cordial with people wherever you go. If you go to a restaurant and you get great service, say thank you very much when the server brings you your food. I don't even see people out there saying thank you anymore. Or when you go to a check stand, if you're not using the self-checkout, which many grocery stores now have self-checkouts to the point of where you can even bypass the checker. But even then, they typically have somebody watching over the self-checkout area. Even then, you could say thank you to the person that's watching the self-checkout area on your way out. Say hi to people. Greet people. Hey, how are you doing today? Thank you so much. Have a great day. I don't see that happening anymore. And that's all just, give me 1 second here. I'm just going to wait to cross. But I've got a couple cars coming. All right, now we're in the clear. So like I was saying, why can't we just be good to people? Why can't we just say, hey, how you doing? Hey, thank you very much. Have a great day. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. I see so many people that are out in public and they're just rude and they're ignorant and they're selfish. And I think I understand why they're being that way, because they're unhappy about something within their life, or they've gone through something, or they're going through something emotionally to the point of where they feel like they don't want to be nice to anyone. Let me tell you something. Just because you may be going through a breakup or a divorce, or you have issues with one particular person, it doesn't mean the rest of the fucking world deserves to get rudeness from it, or how to say this the right way. It doesn't mean the rest of the world deserves for you to be rude towards them. It's a better way to put it. Okay? Treat others the way you'd want to be treated. We all go through some shit. Okay? And don't let one negative experience that may be happening with a significant other or a friend or a family member affect your behavior towards others, because these other people did nothing wrong to you. So I've always been the type of guy that's believed in world peace. I've always been the type of guy that believes that everyone should get along. Okay? Again, if you're out in public and you walk by someone, say hello. You know what? I go on these hiking trails, and it's funny. Like, I see a bunch of people walking and they have their heads down. Like, when they see you coming, they put their heads down. It's like they want to avoid you. Right? But I always say, hey, how you doing? Have a good day. That's just a nice common thing to do. But most people, as they see you coming, either up the path or down the path, they put their head down. They're like, so I just say, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, how you doing? Great. Have a nice day, or happy holidays, which is what it's been lately because it's the holiday season, right? Okay? Be good to people. Be happy to be alive. Be happy that you're on this earth to breathe the air one more day. Don't take it for granted. Okay? You can choose the type of person you want to be and how you treat others. Because let me tell you what more so defines who you are as a person. Yes, it is important how you treat yourself. It is very important how you treat yourself. But what I feel is more important and what more so defines yourself as a human being is how you treat others. Do you have empathy for other people? And most people nowadays, they say they have empathy, but they really fucking don't. Because I never fucking listened to what people say. I look at their actions. I look at their behavior. Now, part of their behavior can be what they're saying. But if someone says they have empathy and they don't display it, come on now. That should speak for itself. So that's going to wrap it up for me here today. I'm going to have another video coming within about 2 to 3 hours from now or less. And I'm going to be doing a response video to someone that you're going to be surprised. And many of you out there, once this gets released, you're going to sit there and be, wow, okay, here we go again. No, it's not about here we go again. It's about, well, I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to leave you folks in suspense here. Okay. Let me just come over here real quick. I'm going to leave you all in suspense. And this response video is going to be on someone that you would figure would be the last person that would do a response video on. But there's a reason why I'm doing it, and it's a good reason. It's for the right reasons. So stick around for that. Again, be safe if you go out for, New Year's Eve. Preferably stay home. If you're going to go somewhere, try not to drive too far from home. If you have, friends that live nearby, a couple blocks away, try to avoid all freeways, major roads. You gotta know that you're going to also have DUI checkpoints everywhere. So even if you've had one drink, do not drive. Even if you've had one sip, do not drive. Don't put yourself in any situation of where you're going to do harm to yourself, do harm to others, or risk getting a DUI, which is going to cost you a fortune and raise your insurance rates at the same time, right? Don't put yourself at risk. Think before you do something. Don't do anything stupid tonight. And for those of you out there, if you're thinking about doing crazy, drunk New Year's Eve streams on YouTube, we can have some fun New Year's Eve stream. I know the Mad Shangy stream is going to happen tonight. But folks, we can always have fun without drinking, which is what I'm trying to say. You don't need to drink and get drunk just to have fun and to make yourself feel better. I'm going to make this promise to you folks right now. I'm not going to have one drink tonight or tomorrow at all. And I can guarantee you, wherever I'm at tonight, if I'm on the stream or if I go spend time with my mother and brother that live nearby, okay, I'm not going to have one drink. And I'm going to have more fun and more energy than those of you folks that do drink. Okay? So be safe. Happy New Year's Eve. Happy New Year to all of you, your friends and your family. I'll be back with another video later today, like I mentioned, a response video. And I will more than likely be back tomorrow for a New Year's Day, a special New Year's Day daily walk here at the park. With that being said, have a great one, and I'll see you all soon. Soon.